So it's that time of year again. Mother's Day is just around the corner. And if you're looking for some last minute gifts to get for them, for that special lady in your life, whether it's your mom, your wife, or even if, like the special lady in your life, a daughter, a girlfriend has a birthday or something in May and you want to get them a gift, I have 10 amazing fragrances that'll do just that. So 10 fragrances that are great late Mother's Day pickups. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude. Thank you guys so much for joining me for yet another fragrance video. Except for this time, we're not talking about men's fragrances, we're talking about women's fragrances. And so we're looking for last minute pickups for Mother's Day, again, or somebody who has a May or June birthday, or even if you're just a beautiful woman out there that is looking for some new fragrances to add to her collection, then I got you. I got 10 fragrances here that both my wife and my daughter have accumulated through my journey of collecting fragrances. They have picked these ones up, and we're going to start with one that I got in myself that is more of a unisex fragrance. It is a cologne, but honestly it does it even better, and this one is great for the spring and summer, but you can wear it all year long. This is BADEE Oud Sublime by LATTAFA. This fragrance is inspired by fragrance. It's inspired by Kayali, and it's called Eden Apple or Apple Eden by Kayali, which you can find in pretty much any Sephora, which is an apple dominant fragrance if you didn't get that by the Eden Apple. But this one, while the apple, it's red juicy apple, and it's front and center. Let me tell you, I mean, the fragrance is absolutely delicious. It's delectable. It smells like an apple fruit punch. So if you want that to smell on your skin, it is 100% right in the middle of unisex, and it feels just like a really nice juicy apple fruit punch. And then it has a little bit of musk and a little bit of this creaminess as you get to the dry down, and it lasts about 6 to 7 hours. It is pretty much just an apple fruit punch with that red juicy apple really front and center. Very, very beautiful juicy fragrance. My wife wears it, my daughter wears it, I wear it. I mean, it's an absolutely fantastic fragrance. You can't go wrong with it, and you can get it for under $30. So if you are looking for somebody, or you're looking for yourself for a fragrance that is not only inexpensive, but it smells great, and it's both unisex, then definitely check out BADEE Oud Sublime. Again, you can get it on Joma Shop. If I have any links, I will put them in the description. Going into the next one, this is my wife's favorite fragrance. She wears it, and for the men, the same brand, same exact line, has the same fragrance, but I actually see that this one wears very well on men as well, even though it is built for women. It is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. And you can see this kind of ripped off here. You can find these, again, under 50 bucks. You can find them at Marshall's a lot of times too. So if you're looking for a last minute pickup, go out to your Marshall's or your TJ Maxx. A lot of times they have this in the women's section. Light Blue Eau Intense. It is almost like an apple dominant version of the light blue for men. But I actually sometimes like this better than the one for men because of that apple. The way that the apple comes in, it's fresh, it's clean, it's musky, and then you have that fruity apple on top. It's a very beautiful, almost like fruity version of the light blue that the men know. And again, this can be worn, it's unisex, but it is great in the high heat. My wife actually, I got this for her not even that long ago. I would say 6 months ago. And look at this. I mean, it's almost gone. She likes it that much. So if that'll tell you anything, Light Blue Eau Intense, which only lasts about 5 to 6 hours, but it doesn't really matter because it's a great fragrance. This one, going into the number 3, this one is a brand new fragrance that came out over the last 6 months. And I got it in from Burberry, but they thought for some reason I was reviewing women's fragrances, so I just gave this to my daughter, but both my daughter and my wife love it, and I think it's one of the better women's fragrances out there. This is Burberry Goddess. Burberry Goddess is a nice semi-gourmand, almost into gourmand, that is surrounded by the note of vanilla. It also has like this caramely backbone, but it's like a vanilla cacao mixture that you just put together, and it has this almost like whipped cocoa powder smell to it that is just absolutely great. And I say cocoa powder, but it's actually not powdery. We're going to get into a fragrance that has a version of this vanilla, cocoa, that kind of mixture that is more powdery. While this one is almost a little bit more creamy, but it is very nice, sweet, has a little bit of a freshness to it, but this is an all-season gourmand. It's almost like the women's What Most Wanted. If you don't know what Most Wanted smells like, you should know. It's almost like a fresh gourmand. That is kind of what this one is great for. It's going to be great for nights out, but during the cool weather, it's going to be good for pretty much any time. My daughter likes wearing this, but this can be worn by pretty much any age. I would say from like 13 to 45. Burberry Goddess, if you haven't tried it, it is pretty much able to be tried at almost any Sephora, Ulta. It's a really good fragrance. But speaking of the one that I was just talking about, if you're looking for a little bit more of a powdery sweetness, this one is where that cacao pod really is amped up. And then you also, instead of vanilla, you get this tonka bean that really gives a nice powdery vanillic sweetness. This is Eilish by Billie Eilish. And I hate the bottle. A lot of women's fragrances, I hate the bottle, but I mean, it is what it is. It's almost like the female version of Jean Paul Gaultier's. But the cacao in this, it's very chocolatey. Then it has that vanillic sweetness. It reminds me, if you've ever tried Montal's Chocolate Greedy, it almost smells like that, where it's like Cocoa Puffs. It's like the women's version of Cocoa Puffs. It's what it is. It could be worn by men or women. I think it's a very delectable, delicious, gourmand fragrance that is more for the cool weather, but women can wear this all year long. I mean, I would love this to smell this on any women. I mean, if you're looking for something sweet, then either of these two would definitely do that. We do have one more gourmand that I'm going to get into, but as far as the gourmands, I would say that these two are the best designer pickups. But if you're looking for something, this is not necessarily in the realm of actual like designer fragrances, but this is sold at most Sephoras, and I know I love the smell of it. It's almost like a nutty gourmand. This is Brazilian Crush 62 by Brazilian Crush. It's Brazilian Crush 62. I don't know who the name is. Maybe Sol de Janeiro, whatever it is. But whatever it is, it's great. Just look it up, Sol de Janeiro, and it's 62 Brazilian Crush. It says on the front, pistachio and salted caramel is what it's supposed to smell like. And honestly, I don't get that fully. While I do get the nuttiness to it, there's definitely some almond in here. There's definitely a little bit of a sweetness and almost a bit of a fruitiness to it as well. But this is another gourmand fragrance. I actually want to spray it. I don't even know how to. There we go. See, it's more of like a mister. Yeah, nutty, gourmand, but slightly fresh and sweet. This is an all-season fragrance that you wouldn't expect it to be all-season, because when I say nutty gourmand, but it also has a bit of this freshness to it. If you're looking for something that's in the realm of Eilish, Burberry Goddess, and you want something that is just a everyday sprayer, that is what this is. It's going to be almost like the men's Axe, but this one lasts a little bit longer. It's about 3 to 4 hours. But Sol de Janeiro 62, whatever it's called. Very nice, nutty gourmand, vanilla, sweetness, a little bit of a fruitiness to it. It's a very nice fragrance for sure. Now we're going to get into some different style of fragrances. Let's finish up with this one before we get into those. This one is the one that you got to put in every women's fragrance video because it's worn by almost like half the country at this point. It's Ariana Grande's Cloud. It is basically Ariana Grande's version of Baccarat Rouge 540, and it's the designer version of it. That's all you can really say. It has that cotton candy-esque vibe, if not more so, because Baccarat Rouge 540 is a lot higher quality, but this has that burnt cotton candy smell. It has that muskiness, it has that vanillic tone in the dry down, and it really stays like that. It has a little bit of a creaminess, but it's that burnt cotton candy. That's what a lot of people know this for, and that's really what it is. It's more kind of like synthetic cotton candy than what you get with the MFK, which you can't really make a natural cotton candy fragrance, but this one smells like cotton candy. If you like the smell of cotton candy, then Ariana Grande Cloud's for you, and it does smell very nice. It's just a little bit more on the childish side, so not sure if that's a mom fragrance, more of a birthday fragrance. With that said, you want to get a nice mom fragrance. This is a unisex fragrance if they like florals. This is a unisex fragrance through and through by Tom Ford. It is Tom Ford Soleil Neige. Soleil Neige is a very beautiful jasmine creamy fragrance that is almost like, smells like a high quality sunscreen. So if you like the smell of sunscreen out there, this is a beautiful creamy jasmine. It has this nice sandalwood vanilla mixture, which brings that creaminess. It's a bit musky. It is a very linear fragrance, as are a lot of women's fragrances. Pretty much everyone that I mentioned outside of this is going to be pretty linear, meaning they're the same in the opening and the dry down for the most part. This one's pretty linear as well, except for when you get to the dry down. As that floral starts to dissipate, you get more of that vanilla and sandalwood that come in. So it's very creamy. It has that floral tone to it. It's a very high quality, beautiful, effervescent, floral, creamy fragrance. Soleil Neige lasts about 10 hours. It's actually a very nice projecting and long-lasting fragrance. And my wife was actually the one who told me to get that, and she wears it as well. It's a very, very, very nice fragrance. So going into the last two, these are my wife's most worn fragrances. And this was the one that is very inexpensive online, but it has been out for like 30, 40 years. It is dominated by florals, even though the florals are masked by the apple leaf that's in there. And it is just called Ralph by Ralph Lauren. This is a very nice smelling fragrance that has a vintage feeling to it, but it smells great. If you have a female companion out there that's between the ages of 25 and 55, Ralph is definitely going to do that for him. It smells what you expected, like a high school girl in the late 90s, early 2000s to smell like. It was kind of like their Aqua de Jo back then. I know they had Armani My Way and whatnot, but this was Ralph. Ralph was huge back then, and it's still a very good smelling fragrance. She wears it all the time. I still think it's sexy. And if you like this style of fragrance, you like the apple that has a bit of a florally undertone, that's what Ralph is. It's, again, very simplistic. It smells the same from the opening to the dry down. It's almost like the female version of Lacoste. Lacoste has those very easy wear, great smelling fragrances that doesn't have any other fragrances that really smell like it. Ralph is the way to go with that. It has a little bit of a mandarin orange muskiness to it as well. The next one on my list is another unisex fragrance, and this is a beautiful one if you like the note of watermelon. This is by an indie house called COPPERSTILL. It is COPPERSTILL XXX Watermelon Shine. It is supposed to be mimicking watermelon moonshine, although I never actually get much moonshine from this. Doesn't really have much of a boozy tone. This is just very fresh, invigorating watermelon. If you like the note of watermelon, this is going to be the most realistic watermelon note that I've ever come across. It's literally what the fragrance smells like from the opening to the dry down. It lasts like freaking forever for this type of fragrance. And not only that, but as you get to the dry down, it does have a little bit of a mesh. It almost smells like a watermelon root beer. It has almost this kind of like sassafras kind of smell to it. While the opening is bright, it is fruity. It is kind of almost like watery, like it's watermelon, but I mean, it has like a juiciness to it. As you get to the dry down, that juiciness kind of fades while the watermelon is still front and center. It's almost like a watermelon root beer, which sounds weird, but you'll know what I mean as soon as you smell it. COPPERSTILL XXX Watermelon Shine. Men or women, my wife loves it. I love it. It's a really good fragrance, so you should definitely try that one out for sure. And this is the last one. This isn't an actual fragrance. It's in a rolling oil, and this is my favorite on my wife, and this is her favorite fragrance altogether. It is by a brand called Riddle. It is called Riddle Original, and this is, if you've ever smelled Juliet Has a Gun, not a perfume. It is similar to that, except for it lasts like all day long. This is an amber musky oil, which that kind of sounds weird. Like if people don't know much about fragrances and I say amber musk, you're like, what the heck are you talking about? This has a nice classiness to it, but also smells sweet and rich. And at the same time, it is going to be fresh, clean, and invigorating. It has almost a little bit of every one of the fragrances that I just mentioned, but is the most simplistic one of them all. And again, all you do is you open it up and you roll it right on. It's a little roller ball. You roll it on your skin. It's $50 and it lasts you forever because you just roll a little bit on here, and on your wrists, and it lasts all day. It projects greatly, and it smells like $200 to $300 fragrances out there. Riddle Original is absolutely fantastic. And no, I'm not paid by any of these brands or anything like that. I'm doing this for my daughter. My daughter wanted me to make this video, and I do it every year, so why not? But Riddle Original, if you haven't tried it, you should definitely get yourself one of their tester kits. They actually have 10 different roller balls, so you can get an introductory kit, so you can try them out, and then they give you a little coupon to pick which one you like the best. But that's riddle.com, RIDDLE. So those are 10 fragrances that if you're looking for a gift for yourself, or if you're looking for a gift as a late Mother's Day gift or for a birthday, that are really good for pretty much any age. You can see which ones are more youthful and which ones are more for the grown-up women, but absolutely. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat. If you like any of these fragrances, let me know, and again, I'll be back with another one. Thanks so much. Peace out.